My thoughts when I walk up to that ball is I can do anything I want with that ball. I can make it draw in 50 yards. Whatever I want to do with that ball, I can do with it. And it's my world.
His mother's uncle in Shreveport, Louisiana, he lived there. He introduced Jonathon to golf when he was about 2 years old. Bought him a little plastic club, and so Jonathon would go around the house all day hitting his balls, plastic balls. Well, we were in Japan. I got invited to play golf with my pastor, and Jonathon wanted to go, but at 4 years old, I didn't know what to expect, and so I ended up leaving him at the house. And when I came back, I brought him a club. Well, the whole time that he was there, home, he was watching a special on Tiger Woods, and he fell in love.
And I had been watching television with my grandpa, and I saw Tiger and the top players playing the game, and I was like, what game is that? And I really wanted to play, so I ended up asking for gloves.
Well, at that time, Jonathon had never hit a real ball. 2 weeks later, they had a kids camp, and during this kids camp, they would give him clubs and teach him the fundamentals of golf. So I took Jonathon. That particular day was the first time Jonathon hit a ball. Well, they sent the parents away. So when I came back, I was actually late. And the kids were moving around, so I didn't know exactly where their location was. Jonathon was missing. And so I hear someone says, "Hey, Jonathon, that was good. Do it again." So I looked through the crowd, and there's my son hitting his Nike 3-wood, which he refused to use any of the other clubs. And he was hitting the ball off the ground, off the tee. And he was like, "Look, Dad, told you I can play golf." So that's how Jonathon first got started. So he was impressing people even at the age of 4. His first tournament that he played in with adults was at 6 years old. We played as a team, and we came in second place out of 86 teams, which was impressive because there was no handicap. It was just straight open.
Some of my achievements overseas was the Kadena Championship. I played when I was 8 years old, and I ended up winning my division, and it was not a junior tournament. It was adults. Ishigaki, that's another memorable one. I got 3rd place, but I made a hole-in-one against 18-year-olds, and at the time I was only 9.
With his achievements from there, he won at least 15 tournaments, first place in Japan, junior tournaments. Had about 20, 25 top 5 finishes. I don't think he'd ever finished outside of 5 in Japan. But we realized that being over there as an American kid, that there were a lot of tournaments that he wasn't invited to. So we knew that at a certain age we would have to pretty much come back to the United States and let him attend high school here in the United States. Jonathon is now homeschooled, so he goes through an academy that some days he goes in and some days he does it online. So he manages himself. He has a workout every other day, which is 3 days a week, where he comes and trains for golf, either flexibility training, strength and endurance, posture and balance. I'm actually his fitness trainer and physio trainer. But then also Jonathon ensures that he practices at least 6 to 8 hours every day. He doesn't miss a day, even on the weekends. A lot of times, a lot of people are going out, some of his friends are hanging out. Well, Jonathon makes those sacrifices because he's relentless about getting, to the next level and playing well. He loves the game. I never have ever had to ask Jonathon to go practice. I've had to ask him to stop practicing so he can go to bed. But he'll do things like he has a book where he writes everything down that he learns. And as a reminder, he writes his distance out. He studies the game. He's online all the time with YouTube trying to figure out, what are some of the things that he was missing.
Yes, you have to study the game of golf. Because if you don't, you're not going to understand what's really going on. You have to know how the swing works. You have to know what certain grasses do, how the wind reacts to the ball. Like, you have to actually know what's going on in the sport. What makes me stand out from the other talented junior golfers out there is that I have the work ethics to surpass them in skill level, because I work hard. I don't stop until I can really master what I need to master.
In Japan, growing up in an environment where you literally go to school for 6 days, and the schools are actually all the way through the summer. And so Jonathon has this impeccable work ethics that he's adapted from Japan.
Overall, it's just a little bit more hard work, but most of it really comes down to the money, the funds, and the equipment. Right now I could use better equipment, and that's okay because I can manage it.
We just found out recently that Jonathon has been using the clubs that doesn't really help his game. He's actually worked his way out of those clubs. The flex in the clubs they're not where they should be, and he actually broke his driver, and we didn't know that he broke his driver. He broke it because of his club head speed. Jonathon's club head speed is 125 miles an hour recorded in the PGA Superstore on their simulator machine, which is comparable to Bubba Watson. His club head speed is 128. Tiger average is 124 to 128. So you can imagine he's right there with these tour players, and yet he's only 16 years old. His average driving distance is between 330 to 360 yards. He has a recorded drive while in tournament at 405 yards. So pretty impressive. But Jonathon's accuracy with the short irons is really where it's at. And that's where he capitalized most on the game. Unfortunately, he's been using the wrong clubs and the wrong flex in his shafts on all of his clubs. And we're trying to get him some. And of course, because of his club head speed being so high, he has to now use an extra stiff shaft. And the ones that we've come across in the PGA Superstore that fits him are quite expensive. I'm
having difficulty with, like you said, funding, just having the money to be able to play the game. This game is very expensive, and I try not to focus on it, just try to play the game.
A typical driver that Jonathon was using, the one he used brand new, would have cost anywhere from $350 to $450, because it's one that you can buy off the shelf. It's a low grade driver that handles the club head speed of an average golfer. Well, we're finding out that Jonathon is no longer an average golfer. So the club head speed that he swings with requires a better face and one that won't give as much and can hold up. That $350 driver, now the new one that he needs will cost almost $700 to $900 to get him the driver that's adequate enough. The difference is about 60 yards difference gained if he uses the right club and the right shaft. The same thing with the iron. They were used, and they have a regular shaft, and he needs a stiff shaft for those new ones. Well, the new ones versus the old ones costing about $700 used. These new ones, about $1,500. With the new ones, he can swing the club at will. He doesn't have to try to slow down his golf swing in order to try to control the ball from going to the right. Now he can just go right at a pin, and the distance now allows a higher loft, so it can come down softly and not roll as much. And so he dropped, typically using a 7-iron with his old clubs, he can only hit it like 170 yards, 175 yards, not knowing that it was faulty, and usually veers to the right. But using the V-tape taper Mizunos that he has been fitted with, now he hits a 7-iron 205 yards and pinpoint accuracy with a nice little baby draw on it. And you can see the confidence that he has when he's swinging these clubs. Not enough money. My wife's over in Japan. My daughter's still in Japan. Jonathon and I are here here in the United States. Wife is is a teacher, and I actually am a wellness director, a personal trainer. So, unfortunately, just not enough money to go around. And on top of that, because I'm usually with Jonathon on the weekends at the tournament, that means the weekends I can't work. So I pull as much hours as I possibly can to get enough money in. But man, this game is pretty expensive. Didn't know that, but now Jonathon is growing. The clubs are changing. The speed is getting more faster. The equipment that he needs actually costs more money just because he's at that level where he can no longer buy things right off the shelf. And then on top of that, the tournaments now, the fees are a lot more than what they used to be, comparably from $60 to $200 plus. And these are usually 2 or 3 day tournaments, and now that are out of state, different areas that we have to now pay for lodging, getting there, transportation, and then of course meals and stuff like that. We're doing everything we can possibly do. Like Jonathon absolutely just doesn't go out and he saves his money. He doesn't go to movies. He doesn't do anything else. We do chores, and he'll do things like ask the neighbor, do you need help doing this or that? Jonathon will also go out and teach kids and then ask for donations. So that's what we're doing now.
What a sponsor can really do for me to help me play this game is sending equipment, making sure that I have what I need to be successful and really be able to succeed and thrive in the sport I love to play.
What a sponsor can do for us is take a lot of the stresses and pressures off of being able to go out and play the game at the highest level by helping us with the funding of equipment, funding of transportation, travel. Jonathon is only going to get better. This guy is being a good steward over what this gift is. Jonathon influences kids wherever he goes. People are always talking to him, always, surprised at his abilities, but he's humble. And we invite you to come out and just play with him or participate or watch him come out and enjoy the game. I'm sure you'll be impressed with not just the way he plays the game, but the love that he has for the game. And I know you'll be impressed with what you're investing in and who you're attaching your name to.
Whenever I walk up to the ball, I know I can do whatever I want with it. It's my world. It's my swing. I can use my imagination out there. I can really just let it go. I can have my fun. It's freedom for me. It really is. It's my passion. It's why I wake up in the morning. I mean, if I had a choice to pick between air and golf, probably won't be breathing.